Right, today, guys, welcome back to the Buy Sword and Musket channel. We are back in the bunker, as you can see, and I'd just like to have a little chat with you about these two very fine long-barreled flintlock pistols that we have in front of us. Both are of the military, so there are some strong similarities, but some definite differences. Now, the pistol at the top of your screen is a long sea service pistol, and the pistol towards the front is a long dragoon, or heavy pattern dragoon flintlock pistol. There are many similarities. The barrels are the same length, that being of 12 inches, and we measure the length of the barrel from the face of the hut, which is this screw-in part at the back, obviously, to the muzzle. They're both 12 inches. They're both about 60 bore. They're both stocked in a very similar pattern. The biggest giveaway with the sea service for quick recognition from this side is a flat lock, as opposed to the dragoon having a curved face on the lock, and this butt cap. The sea service has this solid, short-eared butt cap. The dragoon tends to have a more of an elaborate arrangement with these long tangs on either side. It also has a brass escutcheon on the back, which, as far as we can tell, is vacant, but if we go into this in depth, it may well have had some markings. The sea service and the land patterns, well, certainly the sea service have this apron here, but very similar. You've got a wooden ramrod with a brass tip. Now, you'll notice that the sea service has actually got a roller type frizzen. Oh no, it's not a roller. Sorry, it's got the standard frizzen arrangement, and you can see in front of the frizzen spring the horizontal crown and arrow inspection mark. Now, if we look at the dragoon, it's very similar, but there is no visible inspection mark. But this fleur-de-lis type finish to the spring is very common of that period. And we're talking about late 1700s. Now, as you haven't seen, the other similarities, if you look at the curve of the trigger curves backwards, and that's the same on the 1805 type sea service. Now, let's have a closer look at this dragoon, because we've not looked at a dragoon before, so I'm taking this opportunity, as I have this one in at the moment, to show it to you guys before it goes out, if it sells, at a later date. Just a quick comparison to the other side. You've got the same sort of idea with the flat brass plate which retains the locks. The screws pull against, there are the main screws. But once again, with the dragoon, this has got a distinct curve to its exposed front. Makes the sea service look slightly more plain and simple. And same with this extension to the rear flat on the pistol guard. If we look underneath, here we have the trigger guard and the brass pommel to the pistol grip, and just in comparison, slightly more plain, more business-like arrangement on the C service. Now, I must admit that when this Dragoon first appeared, I had some doubts, but I think I've done enough detective work on it now to fully realise what we have here. I believe that this may have been restored, that the lock has been re-engraved. It actually says Tower 1762, and then you have the crown and the GR. But as I said earlier, there is no horizontal crown inspector's mark here. That was my first worry, but has later been put to rest by the fact that I believe that this is a private build Dragoon. So it hasn't gone near the tower. This may be a replacement lock, or it may have been added at a later date, this word tower, because I believe that the maker's name or the origins of the pistol have long since been worn away. And if you look now, there in the center of the screen, there are the remains of some struck engraving. Now this is where you would normally expect to see a maker's name and maybe London or York or something like that, or possibly even attribution to certain dragoons, etc. But unfortunately, I do not possess an electron microscope, and I do not know whether that would even expose those markings. But the fact that they're there kind of explains a lack of original proof marks and conventional tower inspection marks. If we then turn the barrel around the other way, you may have seen it already in a glimpse. There are the faint remains of some inspection marks and possibly a barrel maker's mark. But this pistol has suffered somewhat the ravages of time, and the clear markings have been worn away. So, whereas I first of all was a bit worried through the lack of markings, I then feel more confident, in fact, that there used to be markings on it, and it used to be attributed to or marked for a particular unit. We just cannot see it, and that's for shame. But these pistols are far more rare. They are more sought after even than the C service. So there you have it, a Dragoon. It's got the early flicked back trigger, the long ears, very much the Dragoon feature of the Heavy Dragoons, and this curved lock with an early flintlock mechanism. Curved lock, curved swan type neck cocking piece, and a full length wooden stock. So that's about all I can tell you about the Dragoon that I have in front of me. If I had one with more markings, now I'm presuming that there was something on here originally, but being a part that wears so easily, I'm assuming now that is gone and we have lost it. It may have even been deliberately removed if the pistol went to another unit. But I see this as a voluntary or volunteer pistol for the infamous Heavy Dragoons of the late 1700s. So, as I say, I'm not an expert on flinters. My standard fare tends to hang around in these eras, but I find them all very interesting, oozing with history, and they're all worth something in their own right, and they're all worth studying and trying to learn about. So, thanks for joining me at By Sword and Musket. And any more information, I've written this one up on the website under pistols. Look out for the Heavy Dragoon pistol. If you like the video, click like and subscribe. And we will see you again at By Sword and Musket. Happy collecting.